On a cold Saturday, February 13th, 1965, three friends set out on an adventure that would end in unimaginable tragedy. This is the harrowing tale of James Mitchell, a 23-year-old scientist from Winthrop, whose passion for spelunking led to a chilling and unforgettable disaster. This disaster then leads to another incident generations later. This entire tragic caving story has a timeline of more than 4 long decades. Yes, you heard that right. Arriving in Dolgeville with his friends, Heedy and Charles Bennett, their destination was the infamous Schroeder's Pants Cave. Their first stop was the home of George Lyon, the landowner above the cave. Unfortunately, George wasn't home to warn them about the ice-cold meltwater that now surged through the cave's passages. With prior permission for their expedition, the trio felt confident as they approached the cave entrance, eager to explore its depths. Undeterred by George's absence, they entered the cave, navigating through tight spots like the lemon squeeze, the gun barrel, and the Z-turn. They finally reached a spacious chamber with a vertical shaft plunging 80 feet into the depths below. It was here that their adventure took a disastrous turn. James, ever the adventurer, decided to explore deeper, lowering himself into the shaft. Secured by a safety line and harness, he descended, only to be met by a torrent of freezing water. As he ventured deeper, the waterfall grew stronger, and suddenly, his line got stuck, trapping his arm. He was helpless, hanging above the abyss, with ice-cold water pouring over him at temperature -20 Fahrenheit. Despite his predicament, James remained calm, reassuring his friends that he would be fine. He tried to release the line and climb to safety, but the line was too cold and wet to grip, and his equipment couldn't get free. Heedy and Charles, just 10 feet above James, tried desperately to pull him up. For 45 grueling minutes, they struggled against the icy torrent, but their efforts proved futile. Realizing the severity of the situation, Charles climbed out to seek help at a nearby farm, but no rescue teams were nearby. The closest help, a national cave rescue team, had to fly in from Washington, D.C. Within hours, this terrible story became huge news across the country, and the nation held its breath, hoping for a miracle. By the time the rescue team arrived, it was too late. James Mitchell had succumbed to hypothermia. For 6 long days, the team tried to recover his body, but the cave walls began to collapse. Due to that, the passages became even narrower and boulder blocks became a hurdle as well. The thought of the cave completely collapsing, trapping the rescue teams inside as well, was a looming question. Ultimately, they had to seal the cave, turning it into a tomb for the young scientist. Many were disappointed and outrageous. However, the teams did what they thought was the best. However, the story doesn't end there. James's untimely death was the first time people truly understood the risk of hypothermia in caving. Paula Gergic, secretary of the British Caving Association, explained that it made clear how stopping movement during an expedition could lead to deadly cold exposure. At the time of his death, it was common to explore caves in jeans and cotton overalls. Today, cavers usually wear a fleece undersuit with a waterproof PVC coating, a testament to the lessons learned from James's tragedy. Years went by. James's story started to fade away. However, more than 4 decades later in 2006, George Lyon's grandson Christian, who grew up listening to the tragic passing of James, made a mission for himself. Something about the incident kept him uneasy. People deserting a person's dead body, who was once as excited for adventures as Christian himself. This was something he wasn't willing to accept, and just because of that, he resolved to recover James's remains. With the blessing of James's family and a highly qualified team, Christian embarked on a mission to give closure to this tragic story that bugged him for years. News quickly spread that the body would be recovered from the abandoned cave, and Christian Lyon filmed the search process, turning it into a documentary. He and his team retraced James's steps from over 4 decades ago. The passages were as treacherous and collapsed as the stories had warned. Christian descended into the same vertical shaft. He came face to face to that icy, relentless waterfall. Confronting this reality after hearing tales of its chilling presence and the agony it inflicted only fueled Christian's resolve to honor his promise. Hours stretched into an eternity as they tirelessly combed through narrow, winding passages. Finally, at a depth of 75 feet, James's bones lay scattered at the bottom of the foot shaft. Christian was at a mix of emotions. he had fulfilled his mission to bring closure to this heart-wrenching saga. After 4 long decades, James's remains were brought back for a proper burial, providing some solace to his family and friends. The Schroeder's Pants Cave was reopened, giving cavers the chance to explore again. James Mitchell's story ensured that other cave explorers were better prepared, and his legacy continues to impact the caving community. Floyd Collins was an experienced caver, a legend in his own right, known for his fearless exploration of Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. But his most daring adventure, one cold winter's day in January 1925, would turn his name into a haunting tale of caution. With nothing more than a lantern and his adventurous spirit, Floyd entered Sand Cave alone. This labyrinth of tunnels and hidden chambers lay deep beneath the Earth's surface, promising new discoveries. The cool, damp air clung to him as he ventured further, the darkness wrapping around him like a heavy cloak. But Floyd was undeterred, driven by the thrill of the unknown. As he ventured deeper, he discovered a narrow crawlway he'd never seen before. Despite a moment's hesitation, he pressed on, squeezing through the tight passage. Suddenly, disaster struck. A massive rock dislodged from the ceiling, crashing down and trapping his leg under its immense weight. In an instant, Floyd's fearless journey turned into a desperate fight for survival, his cries for help echoing through the cave's silent passages. Realizing the severity of his situation, panic set in. Floyd was alone, pinned under a boulder, with no way to call for help. Hours passed like days as he struggled to free himself. The air grew thinner, and pain became his constant companion. Despite his efforts, he couldn't move, and hope began to slip away. Above ground, Floyd's absence sparked growing concern. His friends and family, expecting his return by nightfall, were alarmed when he didn't show up. On February 2nd, Floyd's brother Homer went on a desperate search, finally locating Floyd deep in the cave. But despite his efforts, he couldn't free his brother. Homer raced back to the surface, gathering a team of rescuers. The rescue teams knew it would be a difficult operation because of the treacherous terrain and narrow, winding passages. Each step brought new obstacles, including collapsing tunnels and the inability to reach Collins directly due to the unstable cave structure. At one point, a cave-in blocked access to him, further complicating the rescue. After reaching him, they too attempted to move the rock, but it refused to budge. News of the rescue spread like wildfire, drawing a crowd of onlookers. The rescue team began to grasp the enormity of Floyd's misjudgment. He had ventured too deep without proper equipment or support, a fatal error even for a seasoned caver. As the days ticked by, the rescue efforts intensified. A new shaft was dug, but unfortunately it collapsed, severing contact with Floyd. Undeterred, the rescuers dug another shaft, inching closer to their goal. Floyd's situation grew more desperate. Trapped in the cold, unforgiving cave, he battled pain and fear, clinging to the hope of rescue, but deep inside, he knew his time was running out. Hopes began to dwindle, and his body weakened from dehydration and exposure. Finally, on February 16th, the rescuers were able to reach him for the second time. By then, it was too late. Floyd Collins had succumbed to the cave's deadly embrace. He fought against all odds, beyond human capacity, but that too wasn't enough. The Floyd Collins rescue mission lasted 17 agonizing days. His body was brought back to the surface and they finally laid him to rest.